Yep. Okay, we got volume.
Audio's good. People are good. Welcome everybody to the Genus Brewing live everything else at exactly 8:45 Pacific Standard Time every single Sunday morning. We don't
No delays.
Don't miss a beat. So if you're just tuning in, that's exactly what time it is currently. It's 8:45. Congratulations if your clock's wrong. It is half absentee daylight savings time. So, figure that one out.
Yep.
Genus Brewing news.
Also, morning ham.
Morning ham. This last week we got Pokemon.
That's our news. It's
the news. So if you want to catch them all with us, Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, that is out, and we played it. I guess there is some more actual news.
Genus Stone is back on.
Genus Stone is back on. That's not a good representation. It's looking a little sad right now.
Yeah, that I did not get a good pour.
Yeah, it must have been a shaken up keg or something like that.
Yeah.
But hey, it's back on.
You put my Genus Stone all the way over there?
You put it over, I don't know. You handed it across the table. Today's Friendsgiving, so we will be shutting down the brewery early so we can celebrate friends and family a week earlier than actual Thanksgiving, where we go and celebrate just mostly family there. So we like to do a Friendsgiving, so it's more of a community.
I still need to figure out what I'm making or bringing.
Yeah, just make I don't know, beer. Bring beer. We have beer here, so.
Yeah.
We had a glycol chiller issue here in the brewery this last week.
Oh, I didn't know about that.
Yeah, that was fun. That's when we were streaming.
Oh yeah.
I had noticed it, and I thought I fixed it that night, and then I came back in the morning, and instead of being fixed, it was leaking fluid from the actual compressor, so leaking the coolant part, not the glycol part. That was something that still needs to be troubleshooted. I don't know how to fix a compressor. I'm not an HVAC guy, but I do know how to replace that spot in the line. So that glycol chiller is actually what runs our walk-in. So right now we're using one of our smaller glycol chillers to run our walk-in, and that means our walk-in's a little bit warmer than normal. We can't really.
Which actually explains why the Genus pour was a little funky too.
Could be part of it. Yeah, a little bit of sputtery sputter, a little bit of.
Morning, Reverend.
Good morning, friends.
Also, Patrick Sandy, I'm so excited that you're doing that fried green tomato beer.
Nice. It's gonna be awesome.
Oh, to start off with, remember about a month ago I was traveling and I was not able to be in person with you guys for the live stream.
Yes.
This is one of the beers from the brewery I mentioned. This is the rice lager, the dry hopped rice saison, rice saison.
Delightful.
From Elder Pine Brewing in Maryland.
I like that label actually.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
Their other one, which I also have, I brought this, and the sour that we drank was from them too.
Oh, gotcha. Nice.
Yep. Morning, Jimmy.
Hey, Jimmy.
I know Peter. We did debate using your face again for the thumbnail.
Oh yeah, it's forever a thumbnail option. Yeah, this is really good.
Yeah.
It tastes kind of citrusy, but like I don't know, nice grassy. Like it goes well with
the saison.
The saison earthiness.
And the rice adds kind of that little bit of puffiness that you kind of want, like in my opinion, where it's clean, crisp, but it has that little bit of body.
And murder that fly that's around me.
And Dude Stew Brews, morning. We're just not starting off with your beers because your beers are all IPAs and big.
We'll get there. Today's gonna be might be a drinking heavy day. We got drinking in the morning, small break, Friendsgiving in the afternoon.
I was gonna say I don't have to run off to make beer because I did that yesterday.
Nice. Well, that'll be good for you. You can get some Pokemon recovery in between.
No, actually, I have to go deal with leaves because the snow just melted enough in my yard for me to deal with leaves finally.
I am glad that I don't have leaves. And I do have apples and like a small amount of leaves around the apple tree, but I'm just going to let them mulch and turn into goodness for next year. Any other news?
Dave Musser's birthday's today.
Oh, nice.
Dave birthday. Musser is the owner of Bellwether.
Yep. Happy birthday, Dave. We are also, I got a quote for electrical going on in the back over there. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to get that installed, which is cool for you guys because as we mentioned a while ago, we got the Firmzilla 65 liter that runs exclusively, needs an exclusive 30 amp 220
oh yeah
power, which I already have one of those plugs in the back, but now I'll have two, so I can run two either different systems or two from Brewzillas side by side, and so we could do multiple half barrel batches at the same time.
Yeah,
which would be fun for things like state beers when we want to maybe do two things at the same time.
Yeah, and that also gives us enough of the state beer for people to actually try, because I know that from even my talks in Spokane, there are people that are like, I don't know if I want to brew it, but I'm definitely interested in trying it.
Yeah.
So we have, there's some.
So I think that's all I got for Genus Brewing News. That's kind of the breakdown of what. There's probably more stuff that happened, more stuff that broke, more stuff that I'm trying to get or buy.
I was gonna say, it's been going into Thanksgiving. It's been kind of slow in Spokane. There's been some beer releases.
Yeah.
But
for the most part, things are on the downtrend. Let's jump into what we're talking about, which is the state beers, because we're gonna probably have to brew those this week if we want them ready by the end of December.
No, end of January.
End of January. Oh, we're tasting end of January?
Yeah.
So brews are in December, tastings end of January.
Yep. That way it gives people enough time to brew and send us beer, because I want to.
One of ours is the lager, so end of January makes a lot more sense.
Yeah. Well, and also my thought process is mail can take a week to 2 weeks, and I want people to have time to get us the beer.
True that. So your options, by the way, for those of you who don't know what we're talking about, state beers. We are going to do one beer for every single state, and we are going to start with December being brew month number 1, and turn in time being the end of the following month.
Or turn in before the end of the following month, so that way we
tasting was on the end of the following month. So
yep.
Right now that'd give you like a 7 to 8 week lead time.
And Jimmy, and that's the other thing is with the holidays being slow, mail being slow.
Yeah, exactly. By the way, if you guys want to send us any other Christmas presents, feel free.
We accept beer. I accept beer T-shirts. I wear a medium.
I wear a double extra large. So. And
also, I do wear a lot of beanies. So beanies and baseball caps I also wear.
We'll also accept cool label ideas. River Rivera. Hey, it's right there.
Yeah.
I was just about to show the labels we printed off for him. I think there's one left that he sent me that I haven't seen yet that I haven't printed off. But we printed off his beer labels. And they are here somewhere.
Peter's running around and stuff. Yeah. Also, something else that I will absolutely accept is any if you guys have a local malter in your area, send us the grain. Send us some grain to make beer with.
Yeah. And then on top of that, we have an entire Amazon wish list full of ridiculousness. We've gotten anything from a potato gun to things that we need here, like batteries and Pine Sol.
And Stefan Stahlmeier has also bought us camera equipment.
The goat. He probably bought me my favorite lens. That lens, the 85mm, is a really good.
That is a nice lens.
Yeah, lens for doing a lot of stuff. My wife says I'm cute. Is she watching?
I don't know.
You cute, boo. Oh, thanks. I don't know if she's watching. Or she might just, yeah.
And yes, I did text you when I saw you jump on Pokemon when I was on Pokemon this morning.
Yeah. The good old days. What are we talking about? Yeah, all things we accept. Beers are great as well, but it's always fun to see what you guys are doing with your own labels. And if you guys want, we'll print out labels, and then if you do something for us, we might be able to send you a beer in your own label. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's just a thought. I have a label printer that I'm having way too much fun with, so. There's that.
Hey, Dudes Do Brews. Since you're local,
yeah,
I know you come in and drop your beers off. We can actually label your beers if you send us the label ideas.
This is a 5x6, by the way, or 6x5, and so that's what I have ready to print. I can print on a couple different sizes, but that's what I have ready to print. I got some graphic design skills, and so I can always put it into a different different style. Let's jump into what we're doing for the state beers. So the beer that everyone needs to brew this month is either the one that is probably the more practical one for most people to brew, which is Pecan Amber Lager.
Well, so it's a pecan-based beer that's not a porter.
It's not a porter.
That's the criteria there, is a pecan beer that's not a porter, because Patrick's
50 labels, FYI. Deal.
Yeah. Patrick, I showed Peter Your wife's first design, and he liked it.
Nice.
The cat one.
Yeah.
So it's a pecan because there's too many pecan porters. That's what everyone does is a pecan porter.
Yeah, I think I know 3 of them. There's Laughing Dog. There's the one down in Portland from whatever it's called.
No, there's Everybody's Brewing does a pecan porter.
Everybody's, and then was it Belching Beaver or something like that does a pecan porter?
I wouldn't be surprised.
I don't know. Yeah, there's plenty of them.
Ooh,
Brown sugar pecan Kolsch.
Do we need a pivot to that? Because
I don't know. We'll figure it out. We got a whole week.
Hey, Lisa, pecan amber lager, the brown sugar pecan Kolsch.
Yeah, we've got Tuesday's probably going to be our brew day for at least the lager. If we do a lager, it's got to be probably Tuesday. We can probably push it back if it's going to be something like a Kolsch. But still, it's going to need some time to set. Real quick, dry yeast question. Do you recommend a starter for brews with dry yeast strains? Same procedure as wet yeasts. I always recommend a starter 1,000% of the time. Not just because, so a lot of people think they don't need it because the cell viability is better in dry yeasts versus liquid yeasts. However, the reason that I really like dry yeast is because they get an active start a lot quicker, starters is because they get an active start in the actual beer a lot quicker, and they're competitive. They will push out anything. So if you're a little bit shitty at, sanitizing your stuff, you've got a little protection because your yeast is going to go to battle for you.
I feel a little attacked.
Why? You do starters, don't you? No, I'm brewing. Howdy.
Sadly, no.
What? You can always overpitch and cross your fingers, but
yeah,
9 times out of 10 or more than that, you're probably fine. For light beers, nothing above 6.5%. But for beers in the lighter end of the spectrum without a starter. But if you want to guarantee, if you want to brew like a pro, if you want to make sure that your beer is going to get that heavy, active start, then you should always do a starter. It's just a good... That said, I don't always follow this rule because I don't. But I know that if I want to make sure that my beer is going to be consistently clean and good, starter is kind of necessary.
When I home brewing, that was the next biggest step I need when I took to my quality of my beer is a starter.
Mm-hmm.
I think almost every home brewer in Spokane does starters too, unless it's I'm winging it brew day.
Yeah, a lot of home brewers do. On the 2-barrel scale, it's pretty easy for me. Even if I forget day of, I'll still do a 2 or 3 gallon starter for our 2-barrel batch, just in one of the SS brew buckets. And at least it gives me a little bit of an advantage.
Mm-hmm.
But ideally, I'm doing it the day before.
Yeah.
Connor Hoodgard, I'm doing my Kolsch today. Cheers. Cheers,
Yeah.
Connor.
Patrick, I'm going to put a hold on your question. We'll get to that when we start talking about the fried green tomato.
Yeah.
Beer. So, yeah. So it's either going to be a pecan porter,
Mm-hmm.
or so it's a pecan beer that's not a porter. But I can speak this morning.
Prove it. More beer.
Or a fried green tomato beer.
And my thought for the fried green tomato beer was something like a cream ale or a Kolsch.
Yeah.
Cream ale would be good because it can have a decent amount of corn. There's no sediment, isn't it? A decent amount of corn load on there, and the idea would be that corn would kind of mirror the corn breading that's going to be on a fried green tomato.
Yep.
The little sparkly bits on the top. Cream ale that's kind of where I'm leaning.
I kind of like cream ale. Or blonde.
Yeah. Blonde, if you wanted a little bit more of a neutral base, maybe it builds some sweetness.
Yeah. But since we started talking about fried green tomato, he's trying to replicate the cornmeal breading. Is 40% in the grain bill pushing it too much?
No, I don't think so. I think you're going to need some sort of a toasty breadiness too, like some Munich malt or something like that.
Yeah, I was going to say, what I was thinking, without knowing exactly what Patrick's recipe is, was about 50% whatever base malt. I'm leaning towards Heidelberg.
Yeah.
And then 10% like kind of that Munich, and then that heavy corn.
Yeah. 40% would be the biggest thing that I'd say about that is it's going to be difficult to use. If it's difficult to actually get mashed in, you might have to use something fluffy. Jimmy
says add enzymes.
Yeah. The nice thing about corn is pre-gelatinized, generally speaking, and so it's going to have a little bit more, I don't know, solubility of the sugars that are in there. But yeah, that's a lot to try to put on your beer.
And Dustin, I even make starters with Kveikis. You don't have Kveik. You don't have to because Kveik is stupid.
Yeah, that's one of the ones that I say I'll keep making an exception to that rule. A lot of people do though. Usually,
Jimmy, do you make starters for your Kveikis?
I think what was I just reading?
Well, let me rephrase that. Jimmy, do you make starters for your either? Answer that question for both dry and your wet Kveikis.
Yeah, well, he does a lot of his. He does pitch back to back, so he uses the same cake, which means it's big like a starter.
Yeah.
Yeah, the nice thing about that is it does help keep it consistent.
And Patrick, post that one in the state beer instead of just the beer recipe one. Any state beers, if you're posting the recipes for us to see, post in the state beer. So that way we keep all the state beers kind of in the same.
And we can share them.
General ballpark.
Yeah, and we'll do the same. We should have the recipes. We should have had them figured out last week, honestly, because I was planning on trying to be ready to brew early this week. So we should have had the recipes figured out last week, but I think we're going to go ahead and try to get those probably hammered out today, and then I think brew on Tuesday, Wednesday, something around there.
I can come in, depending on when you start brewing, I can come in early before I go to trivia.
Okay. Yeah, well, I don't know what I'm
or I can swing by after trivia.
I might do it during the day. I'm definitely not going to stay out late for it.
Yeah.
I wake up very early, and I have a whole family to family-ize.
Especially before. And then Wednesday, I am out of town.
That's fine.
I am leaving, so. But I'll still be here. By the way, I'll pour a little bit later, but our mystery dry hop beer is on tap too.
Finished. That's gone now.
Oh, it's gone?
Yep.
It blew?
Yep.
Obviously, it was good.
It was good. And my wife just ordered me a beard kit. Thanks, wife.
A beard?
Beard kit.
Oh, nice.
I was planning on doing a segment in weekly live stream. I had a kind of a busy end of the week, and I was filming a wedding until late last night, and so I didn't have time to prep. But I was planning on doing a segment called What's Going On With Our Beer, where we have from Kegland, we got a bunch of those wrapped fermentation pills. Mm-hmm. And so we have a couple of them that we're using in-house. And now we can tell you exactly what's going on in our beer, and we can show you like the graphs and everything on that.
Oh, nice.
That would have been a smart thing to do for today, but I haven't prepared it. Which
yep.
is to say I can't do that right now, but I probably won't.
No, I was going to say it's pre-holiday stuff. I also heads up, unless Peter decides to live stream by himself next Sunday, I will not be here.
I might do something.
Okay, because I will be driving back from Salem, Oregon.
Fun.
So, and Jimmy says he does, for Kveik's to start out, he does do a starter. A few sprinkles into about 3 quarts of starter, and then can get 2 to 3 brews from 1 pack of dried flaked. Commercial, I don't.
Yeah, what I'll do a lot of times if I'm doing, like, even on the 5-barrel scale, is I'll dramatically underpitch with even Lutra. Lutra is one of the ones that for the neutrality, for that clean lager flavor, it might be a better idea to do a starter.
Yeah.
But with Quikes, generally speaking, they're strong active fermenters, and you're going for some of the flavor they produce. And so making them work a little extra isn't a bad thing.
Actually, I have a second yeast strand that I don't necessarily recommend starters.
Which one?
Hefts.
I disagree with you.
Okay.
But a lot of people, I know where you're coming from. A lot of people are on your side. That's one of those ones that there's a little bit of a debate on.
Because if you underpitch, you're going to get that. You're going to work the yeast to a stress enough point where you get some of the banana flavors.
Yeah, so you get a little of the esterification if you do let that be stressed a little bit. However, the reason I don't like that, the reason I disagree is because I like to avoid certain amounts of the clove flavor as well. And I like to, there's a certain pungence that comes from stressed Hefeweizen yeast, which some people like, some people don't like. But if you want the pure banana flavor, if you want that kind of soft, bright flavor, there are certain precursor acids you can make sure that are in there that can take care of the same thing, even if it's not stressed. So if you do the old world decoction style and you actually include a phytic acid rest, or a ferulic acid rest, then the ferulic acid is a precursor to the isoamyl acid.
Also, you'd ferment it a little bit warmer.
Yeah, no, that's just, in general you should.
Yeah, I've been playing around a lot with my hef. I finally got, with me brewing it, I finally got banana out of the batch I just did.
Nice.
Still not where I want, because I need I need to have Damon get a container, and which I'm probably just gonna say, hey, I'm gonna get a 5-gallon bucket and put a bunch of rice hull and fill it with rice hulls, and then just dump rice hulls into the mash.
You should do that almost every time anyway.
Yeah.
Speaking of Damon, you should tell them he should pay you for an extra long brew day and should try a phytic acid rest. Ferulic acid rest. Phytic acid is more common. Ferulic acid is what's precursors to banana.
Since I'm only doing the half and 1 barrels going forward, yeah, I can probably organize that.
No, that'll probably make it a little bit less cost efficient for him to ask you to take extra time though.
Well, I was gonna say I did a 2.5 hour boil on our Baltic porter.
And that was 1 barrel.
Yeah.
Well, please, you'd probably charge an extra for that though.
Yeah.
The Hefeweizen, I feel like you can't be like, oh, this is a $9 12-ounce glass.
Yeah. Nope. But I also can't but I have to brew 2 batches for the 2 barrel.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things that we're working out. We're figuring out.
That's one of the reasons I'm getting the 3-barrel system.
Yep. You're just gonna. Oh yeah. Also, I'm gonna jump into this. Jimmy, that juniper, spruce tip juniper berry wit. I'm just gonna tell you, Jimmy, make that your Alaska beer. Since Alaska, which is going to be brewed in January, is going to be juniper / tree beer.
Yeah.
Which is also a great Christmas beer.
Also, the perfect beer to add smoked salmon to. So I think that's just a good overall Alaskan Kodiak style win.
Which I was going to answer Dustin's question here. What's base style used for Christmas ale? You can do an American stout. I like winter warmers for Christmas beers personally.
Yeah, there's a range in that. I've seen anywhere from people doing a wit beer for Christmas ales because you can get kind of some bright minty flavors on top of that, spruce flavors on top of that add to that kind of cold feel. Who does it's like white? Somebody does. I think it might be New Belgium does a winter ale that's a wit beer.
Yeah.
So there's a range from it. The classic one that I grew up knowing, which Ebenezer was on there. A lot of like Jubilee, I think, started out as. It is basically something that's deep and amber in color and maybe a little bit higher in alcohol. It's pretty easy to add a lot of warming spices too, like the clove and cinnamon and nutmeg and all that. So anytime you can add those warming spices, stout definitely fits well too. Stout's one of the things you can add.
Porter.
Yeah, you can.
I would love porters because Christmas Day I kind of want to just keep drinking, and a stout can get heavy.
I think porters kind of fall into the same category as an amber in terms of what they can have on top of them. They go well with that warming spice because they've got a little bit of the sweetness and a little bit of the bulk. Stout can go either way. It can either be on that warming spice flavor, or it can be on the brighter, sprucey or minty spice, just because it can hold a range of flavors a little bit differently. And
if you're going to go with the cinnamon, nutmeg, and clove, since you mentioned that, I actually recommend adding naked golden oats to your recipe to add that little bit of breadiness.
A little bit of bowdy.
Yep, because that's what I did for all my cookie beers when I did them years ago.
Raspberry would go good with the Kolsch. Yeah.
Oh yeah, a Kolsch is a good base for almost any flavor.
It's a pretty neutral body. It can take fruit pretty well.
By the way, second beer we opened is Adam Chumley's Raspberry Wheat. So beautiful color, as expected from Mr. Chumley.
This tastes like a Chumley beer.
I could have probably poured it, and you probably could have said, "Is this a Chumley?"
Oh, that's my first thought.
And Dude Stew Brews. By the way, Dude Stew Brews. Can I actually say your first name, or you want to just be called Dude Stew Brews? Since I know you personally, I always like to double check. I actually do have your Belgian triple over.
Nice.
For us to drink. So.
Banana punch.
Okay. Hi, Sid. Sorry. It's easier for me to say Sid instead of Dude Stew Brews.
Yeah, it's 1 syllable instead of 3.
Yep. And since I've known you since we did cross country one time in like middle school.
Patrick Sandy, I'm thinking Gotland Stricka for Alaska.
Ooh.
I don't know what that is.
I recognize that. I'm gonna look it up real quick.
River Riviera, do you think that raspberry will go good with Kolsch? I already answered that. That's yes. Vite, making a raspberry vanilla wheat. First time adding fruit, adding at 1 week. Puree straight into fermenter or in a hop sack. Depends on how you can filter out. If you're doing a conical fermenter, sometimes purees can sit in there and not really get fully immersed, and they can clog your cone bottoms. If you're doing a flat bottom, and you can use a racking arm or something like that to make sure you don't get it in, don't get any of the puree into your final vessels. That's actually not needed.
Oh, so it's the Swedish version of a Finnish sati or a Norwegian maltol.
Oh, cool.
So that's cool.
That makes a lot of sense for Alaska.
Awesome. Well, enjoy the rest of your Sunday, Sid.
Cheers.
And also, again, we mentioned Thursday when we were playing Pokemon. Good high quality videos there on his channel.
Oh yeah.
So, and I'm also, all of you, because he's running away, go to his last video and ask him what he's doing for his Alabama State beer.
Do it.
So that way, I can convince him to do these state beers.
Patrick Sandy, check out Novozyme Ceramics for cornmeal, or another company if you have time to get the actual enzymes. The claim is that you can use raw grains with it.
And Jeff, it is hard to find the right balance between cinnamon and nutmeg. And a brown ale was a base that he saw for a Christmas beer. But yeah, no, cinnamon, nutmeg. Sorry, as someone who's brewed a lot, I did 4 different cookie beers for Christmas, which Peter got to try all of them.
Yeah.
2 of them were really good. The other 2 were good, I would say.
Yeah, they're all good.
They're all good, but there's 2 that like I've actually gotten people asking me to rebrew those batches of beer. 3. The persimmon people have asked.
Okay.
Because that was, and that messed up my whole system, a homebrew system, because of all the stringy pulp. The oatmeal raisin stout.
I think that was my favorite one.
Yeah, which I might be scaling that recipe for a certain brewery.
Nice.
And then my blonde, the white chocolate chip cookie blonde.
Yeah.
So.
Local brewery is making a beer with stovetop stuffing recipes, stovetop stuffing, rosemary, and sage blend.
You need to get that and send it to us.
Yeah, which one is it? I'll look them up on Instagram. Try to find them.
Stefan Stottmeyer, since you're going to watch this later, family time is important.
Sure it is.
I'm going to read your message to me. In a restaurant with family. Fuck. Sad face. Have a great one. Well, enjoy your time with your family.
It's important.
So, well, since we're talking about what, in general, without going, like, were we building for the amber lager for the base recipe?
So for an amber lager, that's what I had in my brain for what we were going to do for
the pecan.
The pecans. And I was going to go pretty traditional on that for the most part and do a Vienna as a base malt. But this is a time where I'll add some specialty malts to get that brightened red color, which would probably be like 8% of the entire grist, just Special X.
Yeah,
so I do it like a 2 malt.
Yeah, so you're gonna so what's the base malt?
Vienna.
Okay. And why are we going Vienna for this particular beer?
So that's the traditional, like if you're gonna make a fest beer or a traditional Martin, it's that grain that has a nice natural body to it and doesn't come across aggressively toasty, but has some sort of a malt presence as if you had a warm bread layer on the bottom of your beer. It also doesn't completely darken your beer because Vienna malts can go anywhere between 4 and 6 level bond, meaning 100% of your beer being Vienna. It might just cross that orange territory, but to get this to be a true amber lager, instead of using a high percentage of something like a Munich malt, I would probably use, or even like a Cara Munich, I'd probably use something extra dark like Special X that also doesn't carry a ton of sweetness, so I can carry that nice bright amber lager body and only use like 8% of it, but make sure I get that vibrant red color.
So is it 92% Vienna, 8% Red X?
Yep. Special X.
Special X.
Yeah.
Yep. Also, Dustin, please send us beers from them. If their theme is weird beer, we want to taste a bunch of their cans.
We'll trade.
Yeah. And we'll send double so you can have some too.
Yeah. I will.
Also, Patrick Sandy, we're working on sending you your beer.
Yes, we are.
And as I said, I'm going to make sure that we get a couple extra cans in there for you.
Yeah, that's. I don't think about that kind of stuff. I'm putting together my brew room. Fun times. What are you adding to it? Anything cool?
And
I'm putting together my brew room too. My goal is to completely overhaul what's going on in the brewery over there. So that'll be pretty fun.
hey, fresh country.
Greetings.
Yeah. So, and then how are we adding the pecans?
So pecans are going to be toasted, and they're probably going to be added in some sort of a alcohol.
Tincture.
But I might specifically make sure that alcohol has a way to add flavor, and so that would be going right into the fermentation or secondary.
Yeah. So, and then what hopping are we doing for what hopping and what yeast?
So on the hopping, I'm going to stay away from traditional amber lagers that have saws at a higher percentage. I'm basically going to think something sweet and or earthy. So Northern Brewer kind of comes to mind.
Yeah, I was thinking a little bit like break away from the German and.
Yeah, you don't need anything that's extra grassy. You want something that just kind of like smoothly blends into the pecan flavors.
Yep.
Maybe even something woodsy like sequoia hops, but use a small percentage of them. I don't know. It's not going to be the hops are going to be playing in the background. They're just going to be there to balance it out.
And then what yeast are we?
And stuff. I have vids and picks.
Nice.
Amber lager, I would go either harvest or global. Global for the ease of use, harvest for the flavor that I want.
I would.
Harvest is the one that's going to have some warm, round flavors, but be
as long as you have enough harvest for me.
I mean, you need to order another 10, so I might just order some extra on top of that.
Okay, because I sat there, I was like, I know it's I know it's coming up.
Damon was he was in on Sunday. So
yeah.
He let me know that we need to get some harvest going.
Because I have a Doppelbock coming up.
Yeah, Doppelbock.
Yeah. Okay. No, I actually really like the idea of harvest. I'm actually. Yeah, I'm enjoying that yeast a lot. I think it creates a nice kind of almost warming flavor in the yeast itself.
Yeah, it does. But being still true to style clean, it doesn't make the beer seem thick. So Harvest actually comes across, it perceives thinner than something like Global, the fine Stefaner strain. But it has flavors that have that roundness to them. So I really like it.
And Dustin, for a winter warmer porter, I almost want spicy hops.
Yeah, I could see. I would say Northern Brewer is one of the ones that would go in pretty well too. That's naturally earthy and minty. Spicy hops, as long as you can avoid that lemony grassiness. So
yeah, you don't want citrus at all.
Yeah, so classic Sauser hops that sometimes are derivatives that can sometimes come across as spicy. I'm thinking Sterling can be that flipping point where it's like maybe it's the right spice, but also with a little bit of that sauciness. Pearl might be a good option too.
Nugget.
It's not super. Yeah, Nugget, woody ginger. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sequoia, I think, is another one that I keep coming back to. Sequoia's got that
Chinook
classic flavor. Chinook is going to be bright. It can come across with a lot of cobite, so depending on how you work it. But Chinook's classic pine and a lot of that same stuff that goes pretty well with it.
Jimmy asked, ever make a
Santa Claus
beer
with a Zurich Lager? I have not made a Santa Claus beer. It is the only homebrew option. Oh, interesting.
Huh.
I could also see some of the like lower alpha New Zealand hops being okay to use.
Yeah.
They just have distinct, flavors.
Yeah,
I'm thinking like Waimea or something like that.
Mount Hood.
Mount Hood's classic. That's got, it's got some earth. It's got some of that lemony grassiness. It's got some spice.
It got a little bit dank.
Yeah, it's it can go well. I mean, a lot of hops won't be bad. But I like the hops that kind of lean into some sweet flavors that like match certain flavors that you're going for with the winter warm.
Actually, Connor, that is a great question with all the state beers. I'm allergic to red dyes. Like the artificial. I didn't do it this time. Sorry, cop just drove by with his lights flashing.
So either of you guys have any food allergies?
Yeah.
I hate to poison you.
I'm allergic to Red 40 and Red 40 Lake.
I'm allergic to gluten, so don't do anything with gluten. I'm just kidding, guys. Wouldn't that be the zinger of all time? Everyone's got to do gluten-free state. I was gonna say,
wait. You don't see is Peter puff up after live stream.
Yeah, every time
into a giant like.
You're turning violet. I just walk off like it rolled off by Oompa Loompas. I've got no food allergies. Matt is allergic to red dye.
So don't add artificial red dye to if it's natural, like Patrick Sandy's raspberry beer, because me and Patrick have actually, or not Patrick Sandy, Adam Chumley, but I've been reading Patrick Sandy's name, so.
Yeah.
But me and Adam have actually talked about that. There have been seltzers that I have not been able to, because I kind of go out of my way to try to have everything that Genus puts out. But there's been seltzers that Peter and Tim were not comfortable serving me.
Yeah.
Because they, even though it was probably diluted enough where it wouldn't affect me, they just didn't want to risk it. So
never risk it unless there's a biscuit. Patrick Sandy, I found a list with some obscure ale and lager styles I think could be great for some of the states. Have we decided on an alternative for Colorado? We haven't decided on one yet.
We're working on it.
We also have a while before Colorado.
Well, Colorado.
If actually, securing the item is a thing, what I might do is reach out to some people who I know sell the item and come up with our own promo code to get like a discount or something like that on a bunch of our followers buying, the ingredient. And
I've been reaching out, and I'm actually going to talk to my dad and have him maybe reach out to his brother.
Does he make some Rocky Matcha oysters?
No, but he lives in Oregon or Colorado.
Jimmy J, Pacific Gem is interesting. Supposedly oak and blackberry. Used it in my stout last week. That's a good hop. I don't use that one very often, but I agree that would be a great one for winter warmers. Shannon Myers, do you know where I could secure some malted purple Egyptian barley? Heck yeah, I do. I think we have some in stock, and if not, I can get some from Link Malts pretty quickly.
And I recommend, Shan, I'm going to ask you have your own mill because I don't want to send ship milled grain.
Oh yeah, purple Egyptian barley is also difficulter to mill than other things. It's a smaller kernel.
So you have to decrease your.
If you're in Spokane, I don't know if that's somebody in Spokane. If you're in Spokane, Link is right down the road, and they will sell by the full bag if you go right to their door.
Yeah.
But if you just need like a 10-pounder or something like that.
I know Chainsaw Brewing, who's down in the Tri-Cities area, comes up about once every month and a half to 2 months.
To get some?
And then just visits a ton of Spokane breweries and like picks up a bunch of beer.
Jimmy J, 2-for-1 deal on the Rocky Mountain oysters. Heck yeah, just use promo code Genus at checkout. We can make that. I can make that work.
Yeah, so raw bull balls are not cheap. So yeah, no, I admit that one. That's one of the ones I definitely want to make sure we find an alternative for.
Well, that's fair.
Actually, here
the challenge, though, I think part of the challenge for us is going to be also tasting the items, and so I need to make sure that we're able to taste whatever we want to. As part of the video experience, make sure we know what flavor we're going for, and we taste it, and then we try to put that in beer. So like this week, maybe tomorrow, we got to make some fried green tomatoes.
Yeah.
How much are Rocky Mountain oysters?
Oh, what am I?
If you want, you can just use whatever other testicles you can find. We won't ask questions. No red food dyes.
I'm gonna say this right now. A Denver omelet inspired, so onions, ham, bell pepper.
Oh yeah, Denver omelet sounds good.
Yeah, that's gonna be the other one is bell peppers, onions, and ham.
Yeah, or any beer you can make while being really high. Which that actually sounds like a really something you'd eat when you're really high. That
yeah.
works.
So
perfect. Let's come full circle.
Yep. Yeah. So, I think we got the pecan amber lager kind of figured out.
Oh yeah.
What are we?
Okay, fried green tomato. Let's hash that one out. By the way, let us know in the comments if you think we'll do the quick rundown real quick so that you guys are recapped. But let us know in the comments what you think of this recipe for our amber lager that is going to pecanify, and tell me what kind of tincture I should make for the pecans. So it's going to be 92% Vienna malt, 8% Special X for the grain bill. It's going to be soft water.
Sorry, I'm going to get rid of that comment.
Beautiful girls here.
Remove.
But what if they're really there?
But I'm just laughing at Patrick Sandy. My wife just said, and I quote, "Finally, something to do with all the testicles in the freezer."
Perfect. 92% Vienna, 8% Special X, and relatively neutral water as per lager usual. For hops, we decided on maybe Northern Brewer, but whatever.
Thank you, Jimmy.
It's going to be small and not really matter. And then for the lager yeast, I think we're settled on Harvest.
I like Harvest a lot. Is there any Omega yeast? Because I haven't played around too much with Omega, and this might be a fun time to play some Omega stuff.
They have an Oktoberfest yeast that kind of works like Harvest.
Let's just stick with Harvest for this one.
That's one that I know better.
Yeah. We can play some of the weird Omega stuff in some of the other weird beers.
Heck yeah. And then for the pecans, they will be toasted. Boom, boom, boom. Oven fried, oven toasted.
Or even if you throw them in a like big saute pan with just a little bit of oil, just to like kind of
release some oils, express some of the nuttiness, and get all that goodness out. And then all that's going into some sort of a tincture. You tell me what kind of liquor. But that liquor I want to add to the experience of the pecan amber lager. And that's if we end up doing an amber lager. If we switch that up, we'll let you guys know in a different recipe. But let us know what you think of that.
Yeah, I have not used that Omega yeast yet, Adam.
We have. We have a video doing saisons, back-to-back-to-back saisons, and one of the ones we used was Yovaru.
Okay, I have not, but yeah. That might be one of, because I want to do a couple farmhouse beers for some of the, just because a farmhouse outside, obviously lagers will become one of my favorite styles because they're easy to drink. But if I see a good saison or farmhouse beer, I am drinking that.
Yeah. Me too.
Because, like, I can go get an IPA, a stout, a blonde, a pale.
I was gonna say, Jimmy, you should answer the Yovaru stuff. Very nice. Can go super dry. It went funky on me once too with the Yovaru, but overall I've really liked it. Actually, I think about it my favorite between that Saison Science Monster and C2C when we did those back to side by side.
Okay, your turn to rinse and get new glasses.
Okay, fried green tomato beer. Something about a cream ale. Everyone comment what your favorite ingredient to use is going to be.
Yep. And I'm going to quickly step and grab IPA or Belgian triple.
Yes.
Well, I know we're doing both, but which one first?
Let's do the triple first.
Okay, and it's a rye PA.
Rye PA. That's going to be very aggrego.
Which is one of my favorites.
Patrick Tandy says bourbon with pecans would be standard. The wife says rye whiskey. All right.
Ooh.
Sweet rum. I think sweet rum might be the
to get that kind of candied.
Yeah, that might be the flavor that goes better with the amber lager kind of feel.
Yeah, and that also you can do a little bit of the brown sugar that your wife suggested. Yeah. Mostly so that way you can make enough so she can eat some.
Yeah, but the whiskey side, if we did do peaches, would also blend in. Or if we wanted to even just do it with a peach liqueur as like a beer cocktail on the day of.
That was a nice little.
I feel like with Alabama, now I'm thinking we've got to, if we're gonna lean into that with the pecans, we might as well add a little bit of like a black tea flavor. Because like sweet tea, if we're aiming for sweet tea, we might try just a smidge of that.
Kawi Gabe?
Kawi Gabe, new first-time homebrewer here. Got them in bottles right now.
Nice. If you look up, because I am not going to.
Send us one, and someone else can grab our address and post it in chat because I am feeling lazy. 17018 East Sprague, Sprague.
And if you do send it, make sure you mark it for Matthew.
99016.
Because I actually was talking to Jess and Warren, and they also have been trained that if they get anything that says Matthew, they immediately know where it goes.
Yeah, that's good. Bumbu rum would be great for it. Technically, it's not a rum, but it is. Is it like a cachaça, like just cane sugar instead of?
And also, congrats on your first homebrew.
Yeah, good job.
Sorry,
Kui.
Ooh, blonde ale. Nice.
Kui.
Yeah.
That's how you pronounce it, right? Kui.
Yeah.
That's how I'm going to say it from now on. My girlfriend says to add a whole hog to the Alabama beer. Oh, man, I wouldn't mind roasting a whole hog with that. We can dig up some of those pavers out there and just do a pig roast under the patio.
I'm sure your building owner would love that.
Nah, he wouldn't know. It's like Kawasaki. Oh.
I was going to say, again.
I like Kawi.
And I'm interested in... and you can add cinnamon sticks to yours. I don't think we're going to add any cinnamon to ours.
No.
But again,
like going into that pumpkin pie realm. But yeah, we don't need to, like, it doesn't need to be too on the nose. Or
And
not fucking pecan.
and I totally get the pecan pie. Daniel, I'm going to be honest. We have 3 pies at Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
We have pecan, which I mentioned on previous live streams that I've been on. We do a pumpkin pie because that's classic.
A meat pie.
Yeah, we do mincemeat.
Sweeney Todd style.
We do a mincemeat though.
Yeah, Sweeney Todd style, right?
And then we also do a pecan.
Missing at least one family member a year.
Oh, so it's a 70 proof instead of an 80 proof rum is.
Oh, got you. Okay.
Yep.
So that goes into the sweetness a little bit.
That might be actually.
Yeah.
I have a feeling that me and Peter at some point in time once we get to adding the pecans, are going to make a trip to Total Wine to explore their rum aisle.
That is not out of the realm of possibilities.
Plus, we also might pick up some other
Goodies.
other beers because
Cigars. My next brew was going to do as a holiday ale, but I melted my oh no.
So, Gabe, I'm going to give you. So, switch to a bucket. Don't do plastic carboys.
Yeah.
Better yet, switch to glass, or if you have the money, get a stainless steel fermenter.
Yeah, stainless is king if you can.
But again, that's only if you can afford.
Yeah, Homebrew for Life actually has a really good video on, like, just making a cheap plastic bucket work for you as a fermenter, and for a good chunk of beers that you're gonna make, not all of them, but a good chunk of beers, they get the job done just fine.
And they're cheap enough that you, after 3 or 4 batches, you just toss in. You get your next.
You don't need to worry about, like, long-term breaking down. They're easy enough to just get rid of. And if you're doing something like a winter warmer, which is what you're doing right now, or a holiday ale, if it's going to be higher alcohol, a little bit of oxygen, it's not going to hurt that beer. And so the plastic bucket's a really good option for that style.
Yeah.
If you're looking at stainless steel ones, those are king. You can kill all the bacteria by throwing boiling water in them. They're the easiest to clean, easiest to sanitize, easiest to manage. And you don't have to worry about breaking them. They're lighter than glass.
And most of them seal really nicely, and you can have blow-off tubes. And also you can pressure transfer.
Yeah. They've got all the advantages.
Into a keg. And I do recommend getting, as someone who bottles still a lot on the homebrew scale, I do recommend kegging now that I've gotten used to kegging at a brewery.
Yeah. Adam Schlechter, Apple Pie Moonshine. That's exactly how that song sounds. Going back on the idea for the Alabama beers, I think going with the graham cracker.
Well, yeah.
Apple pie moonshine going into an amber lager, that'd be good.
Actually.
Apple pie.
I think they sell the apple pie moonshine.
That's like 20 proof moonshine though, like a real apple pie moonshine or something similar.
I don't know anyone that makes moonshine.
If only.
I know, I actually don't. So.
Yeah, we've got a lot of distilling customers here, so I can. But we can also just make our own with Everclear. Just get Everclear and make our own apple pie moonshine.
Yeah. Or
I can do my own distillation. Totally legal. Winks.
We wouldn't do that. Connor says, "Have you guys ever done a Kavite culture with a lab in it?"
Probably on accident, but not on purpose. That's definitely a better question
for Jimmy. That's a Jimmy question. Good molasses rum. Dustin likes his CF10, but he occasionally wishes he had gone cheaper to start.
So yeah, it's one of those things, like, if I had to start, now I have, adult money when I didn't when I started homebrewing, because I started homebrewing as a 19-year-old. But if I had to start over again right now with my resources that I have right now, I would definitely start on the more expensive end and I just do it right the first time. The amount of times that I've, like, changed what I'm using on the homebrew scale or gone through different things, I've probably more overspent just by renewing things that I'm doing. And I'm experiencing the same thing on the actual big brewery scale.
Yeah.
Like, I started cheap first, and then because it's what I could afford,
which
is totally fine. And then I realized there's a lot of hiccups and things that make my life harder, that with the cheap options, that getting something more expensive is just going to save me a lot of time and make brewing more fun.
Patrick Sandy.
What?
Why don't you just send us a little bit of that shine?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Also,
Come
I
forward and have some sandy fandy shine.
yeah, and then I'm gonna just say right now, real quick, as someone who's been using a similar system for a long time, that I may or may not have bought 90% of the equipment from a Mr. Peter.
Yeah.
I do wish I would have gone stainless steel and actually gone to kegs a lot quicker.
Yeah.
Those are my two big things. Is
Well, it's good to know that you can do the cheap. I mean, so I think I know a lot more about brewing because I, like, even on the commercial brew scale, whether it's homebrew or commercial scale, I've done everything absolutely as cheap as possible. That'd be a fun video to do, actually, is how cheap can you make a homebrew batch of beer, like, with having nothing. But I've done everything as cheap as is possible. Like,
all grain or malt extract? Because malt extract can go cheaper.
I'd all grain, both. I don't know, it doesn't matter.
Okay.
It'd be a challenge, like a old school Logan and Peter challenge.
Well, I'll bring some. No, I was gonna say.
No equipment. You got to start from the ground up.
Well, yeah, no, I'm totally down because I know exactly how to do it.
You can do an equipment list, come with the shopping like receipts and everything like that, and be like, bam, bam, bam.
Yep. No, we can do that.
Anyways, I've learned a lot more doing everything as absolutely cheap as possible because it takes technical knowledge of how everything in brewing works to be able to be creative enough to, make the best possible beer with the cheapest possible equipment that's not made for beer. And a lot of people that do just buy the nice things right off the bat, they've got people that understand beer in the beer industry for years and years and years that made equipment designed to do one thing. And so the people that jump into those systems know that the beer they make on those systems is good, but they don't necessarily know why. And so I think I'm a smarter brewer because I've done everything cheap, but
yeah,
at the
no,
same
I
time,
agree.
Now knowing as much as I do, I would always go with the more expensive option.
Yep. Also, I'm gonna real quickly. Sid's beer, the Banana Blast Belgian Triple. I'm definitely getting the banana,
Yeah.
and it does not taste like 9.2%.
I want to be honest. Anything that's titled Banana Blast, I don't think I usually want in my mouth, just kind of in general.
What about my Banana Blast?
Uh,
But yes, Patrick Sandy, a Floridification does sound really nice.
Yeah. I was supposed to go to Florida earlier this year, and then you stopped me because of some hurricane that you invented that turned out to be real and hit the exact spot that I was going to be.
And your boss even said, I'm not going.
Yeah. Why are we work, you autofocus?
Oh, yeah.
I can fix that really easily.
5 gallon in the cheap steak challenge. Oh, I know exactly what beer I brew even. I got it.
An Imperial IPA.
Nope. A smash. Because if we're going, the best beer as cheap as possible.
Another challenge would be, this is a different challenge, not in the cheap. But another fun challenge would be making a beer with entirely store-bought ingredients.
Yeah. Yeah. Also, this is getting back to Connor's question. Jimmy answered. From my reading about original cultures, most of the bacteria is hindered after about 15 IBU, although some may be a little bit more or less, but it will stay in the culture even when with drying.
Wait, what?
About his lab. Connor's question about the lab.
Oh, answering. Connor from reading about the original cultures. Most of the bacteria is hindered after about 15 IBUs. Okay, yeah, so it's easy to work with if you want to reduce the production of lactic acid producing bacteria.
Oh, it's
KL Brewing, this is a really
go.
good point. He's kind of confirming what we're saying. I've wasted so much money going cheap, i.e. chrome faucets, cheap regulator,
Thank you, Daniel.
etc. And a big reason behind that is, cheap. You break them, they wear out quicker, all that.
here. I'm gonna.
Stuck focusing on the bottle though. Oh no, I turned off autofocus now.
Okay.
So now it should be good.
Yeah.
Now it should be in focus.
Yeah, but I'm defocusing real quick and then.
Yeah. Now you know what out of focus looks like. By the way, check out this label. There's more. I printed off 2 of them, I think. Send me labels, and I can put them on beer.
Adam, you have to bottle it, and you have to get bottles. You have to buy beer from the store.
If you have to bottle it and get the bottles, you have to buy beer from the store. Wait, what?
So for their cheap steak challenge, aka everything,
Oh, we gotta buy beer. Okay, yeah.
or the supermarket. That's the supermarket challenge.
Supermarket brew, PB. Oh yeah, oh yeah. I like it.
You can get cleaning stuff from. Yeah, no, I.
And you have to Then how do we? Okay, and we have to get probably screw up bottles too. If we got nothing from an actual homebrew supply store, including how to package it, I don't think I'd do bottles. I think there's ways to do. I don't think I'd do glass beer bottles. Is what I'm trying to say. I don't know. That's a really good challenge idea. We'll make it happen.
No. I actually no. You would, but you would go to Trader Joe's and just pick up their snap caps, the Grosh bottles, so that way then you can just snap those closed.
That'd be a way to go. I was gonna say I'd probably get like a polypin kind of bag, or any of the like the bag in a box wine things basically, and find a way to remanufacture that so I can screw it over. It can hold enough pressure, and then I can do everything cask style in those reused bags from like boxed wine.
Is this a challenge, or is this just me and Peter running to a grocery store to make a beer?
Yeah. Mexican Coke bottles recap.
Okay. Yep. Okay. We've diverted. Let's get back to the fried green tomato.
Oh yeah. So cream ale. Cream ale is going to be some sort of a nice grainy Pilsner base malt, Pilsner, Heidi, something like that.
I actually probably would go a little bit more. I would go Pilsen.
Yeah, something a little bit more grit.
No, I would actually go for us locally. I would actually do Lynx Pils.
Yeah, the Baroness one.
Yeah, I would do the Baroness Pils. Yes, I know Damon doesn't, or my brewery, we don't like that one because it's not as traditional German. Mm-hmm. But it has some really nice characteristics. I think will play nicely with the fried green tomato.
Yeah, as you get with smaller, locally sourced grains. And a little bit of Munich, a little bit of corn. It probably wouldn't go as much as the 40% corn was that Patrick that was going to do that?
Yeah.
Patrick was going to do. But I might go like 18% corn and 12% Munich, and then the rest something in that range.
I agree. And then hop wise, I would definitely do earthy hops.
Yeah, I think anything that's got a little twinge of Salisbury, but with some earthiness too. I think Mount Hood might be a good category.
Yeah, I was actually thinking about that from earlier. Mount Hood is going to probably be the best. And then is this tincture, or are we adding the tomatoes into the end of the boil?
That's so what I would think is the best way to get the umami flavor. So tomatoes come into two parts. Tomatoes come into with fried green tomatoes. There's the acid, there's the umami, and there's what other like intermediate flavors, like the sugar flavors, or the plant flavors, whatever you want to call it. I think dehydrating the tomatoes is probably the best way to go. Okay. Because then you're not breaking down the tomatoes
and then adding it right before packaging.
I think that's the best way to go. I could see putting the tomatoes into a tincture before adding to get a little bit more control, but it's also going to strip some flavors, so I don't think it's going to be as strong. I think you got to add it right to it. I think you got to do a good amount too. Yeah, no,
this is that's a heavy amount. I agree. And then yeast.
And I would probably have to add some sort of tincture might be good for some sort of a spice component, because you're going to want
like cayenne. You almost want a little bit of cayenne in it.
Yeah, and so getting some sort of a mixed blend spice that we'd probably find that's like I don't know.
We could probably research
Danos or Old Bay or something like that can go on it, and then get into.
Why don't we just message Spiceology and say, hey, we're doing a fried green tomato beer. What spice blend would you recommend?
Yeah, see if they can throw something on there.
I'll actually message Lynette today.
Okay.
Lynette's one. I don't know if she's. I know she still works for Spiceology. I don't know if she's a sales rep, but
we have a sales rep. Somewhere.
I was gonna say I'm friends with Lynette, so I can message her real quick. And she also likes being involved with the breweries.
Patrick Sandy says a British brewery makes a green tomato saison. The recipe is online.
Well,
cool.
You can. Patrick, post that in the state beers.
Yeah, we'll check it out. Green tomato tincture. We're doing. Patrick, that's a question.
Yeah. So Patrick is also doing a cream ale for his fried green tomato. Mm-hmm. So that'll be nice to compare. Game to my yeast question is Adam did a co-pitch of Kolsch and Cali Lager instead of a cream ale blending. He felt his cream ale turned out really good.
Nice.
What would you recommend for a cream ale yeast for us for this beer?
I like the idea of doing some sort of a Kolsch yeast for that.
Yeah, I was going to say Kolsch sounds.
Not quite as warm as some other yeast that you can use, like a German ale yeast or something like that.
Yeah.
Not quite as sharp as the lager yeast. Adam his co-pitch of Kolsch and Cali Lager. I actually did I think I have it on one of our earlier videos, like way back in Genus Brewing days, a blend, that exact same blend, and I really liked it.
Yeah.
Because you can do Kolsch cold and Cali Lager warm, so you can do a blend and they can kind of hit that middle ground, ferment at like 62 or something like that, and it turns out good. What about some green tomato juice in the beer and make a michelada?
I was gonna say, Jimmy, you know the way to me and Peter's hearts.
I am a huge
said
fan of
you
micheladas.
said the one word, micheladas.
Yeah. So yes.
So yeah.
Fried green tomato is gonna be like the perfect michelada beer in general.
And we're gonna have 15 gallons of it, so we will probably have a michelada during tasting.
We might as well just make the juice and have it ready to go. Jimmy, you should help us R&D green tomato michelada blend juice.
Also, I might have a guest taster come in for when we do the tastings.
Okay.
She's been on a Will It Brew.
Rachel?
Yeah.
Nice.
Rachel, because of the size of the system that she's working on, she can't do all the state beers, but there's a couple that she's very excited about doing Nevada down the road.
Nice.
The sour cocktail
Mm-hmm.
that's neon colored, and she's like, how do I get the color I want? She's already like pondering how to get the color she wants at that scale.
Use bioluminescent bugs.
Yeah, no.
Rivera, would you use ascorbic acid and a Kolsch? I use ascorbic acid in everything.
Mm-hmm.
If you're doing mashed ascorbic acid.
Yeah. I'm gonna use ascorbic acid in my dry hopping.
Yeah.
Soon, as in Wednesday when I on my way out of town.
Jimmy says, I think a noble type with maybe a touch of lemon in description is going to go along with any acid from tomato. Yeah,
Ooh,
I agree.
Yeah.
I think a lot of that.
I was just thinking the
Noble or
fried, that
saucer.
kind of breadiness of the fried. You want earthy, but any sauce, yeah.
Well, yeah, you got the hard part about the entire beer is going to be able to show off the acid of the fried green tomato.
Yeah.
So I don't think we need to make it a sour, but I think it needs to be. It's got to be. Final beer has to have some tartness, some corniness. It's got to have a lot going on.
Adam recommended maybe a soy or Worcestershire for added umami-ness.
Tomato has so if you were to process tomato at all, it's got really intense glutamic acid, and that turns into glutamate, which is like very, very umami. So tomatoes are strangely umami-y, like very umami-y once processed. So that's why if you ever add like sun-dried tomatoes to anything, you boost the umami a crazy amount.
And Connor, yeah, what you recommended, take the. I would probably take some wort from about 5. Yeah, I was gonna say take some wort, or even if you have dry malt extract, because that's how I do all my stars. Is I have just a bunch of dry malt extract.
Yeah.
During a 90-minute boil, that's a perfect amount of time to get a starter just going.
Yeah, throw it in a flask or something that can take heat, cool it down in that vessel, and then get after it. Throw your yeast in. I like it when you talk science.
And Patrick Sandy, yes, pseudo lagers are going to be acceptable for any of the.
Yeah.
For the 2 states that are absolutely lagers, because we're not requiring lagers for any of the state beers. This is just what we're doing for the first one. But there are going to be 2 states that do require lagers, and that's Cali for a Cali common lager, and Kentucky for a Kentucky common lager.
All the common lagers, just all the common ones.
Yep.
Jimmy, how many pounds of tomatoes for a 5-gallon batch are you thinking? Trick question, because I'm aiming for dry weight, and I'm thinking it's going to be about a 1/4 pound dry weight. Would be my guess. That's one of the reasons I want to dehydrate in my mind, because I think it's going to be better
Kentucky common is an ale, so it's Cali common is the lager.
Yeah, that one.
That's the only lager. That's the only true lager that's on the list.
I made that mistake before in a TikTok video.
I make the mistake.
It was made to drink fast. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're both hybrid beers. That's what. Yeah. So yeah, they're neither are lagers.
They're like a Kolsch. But yeah. No, I was gonna say. So wait, how many pounds of dried?
I was thinking about a 1/4 pound of dry weight. I have no idea what that is. I'm guessing that's like 3 pounds of wet weight. Would be my guess.
Yeah. Do you have a dehydrator? Hey, Lisa, you guys are getting a dehydrator.
No, we can use the oven rack. I know ways to do it. You can use an air fryer as a dehydrator if you do the low heat.
Patrick, that's because I'm bad at spelling.
Do you not just know the song?
No. What states aren't in order?
Alabama, Alaska, Arizona.
Oh, yeah,
Arkansas,
no, they're not in order at all. Yeah. Yeah, Maryland is in the wrong spot. Yeah, no, thank you.
Maine, Maryland, Massachusetts, Michigan, Minnesota, Mississippi, Missouri, Montana, Nebraska,
Also, because, Patrick.
Nevada.
Oh, yeah, here's the Saison recipe.
Nice.
So 5-gallon batch, just 10 pounds of Pilsner. That's a light Saison.
Yeah.
Mashing in 4 gallons of water, hit.
They use 10 pounds of green tomatoes.
Pureed.
Added the boil and flame out. I like my idea better. We'll see. We'll see who's the champion.
And they use the Belgian Saison yeast. And it's a 90-minute boil with a 15-minute whirlpool. And then fermentation, so.
Easy.
Yeah.
All right, should we work on closing this thing out?
Unless you want the rye, real quick.
Let's do the rye. While we drink the last beer.
Any last...
Before closing out, any last minute questions you guys got for us?
And again, heads up, Alaska, which will be brewed in January, is juniper/tree beers.
Remember, heads up, spaghetti ups.
Well, that rye definitely comes through, even in the cleanup phase.
This might be a little bit overbittered.
That's what I'm thinking. Yeah.
Common early homebrew. No, on the flavor, it's not that bad.
7.9, 76 IBU. It was brewed
Yeah,
on...
all right. At first I thought,
Oh, he forgot to put his brew on date.
At first I thought there was going to be a little bit of that intense flavor.
Also, I'm going to just show real quick. If you send beers...
Label them, but with the brew on date.
Yep. His. Oh, you can't see it. It's but it has his name, or his channel's name, the name of the beer or style beer, has brewed on, bottled on, and then the ABV, and we don't need the IBUs, but ABV is actually good for us to know.
Yeah, and IBUs aren't real. Like, if you calculate them, they don't do a thing. But sometimes a lot of early homebrewers can add hops to their beer, not calculating for the cool down time, and so they end up adding a lot of hops late into the boil, and they end up getting a very, very bitter beer, and that's a common early homebrew mistake to make. And I thought this was going to have that. That's the flavor I was thinking that was going to be there on the smell, but that must just be the rye because on the flavor it's not there.
Yep.
It's a very bitter flavor.
Yeah. Also, so questions, Rivera. How much hops in a 5-gallon Kolsch?
Depends on the hops. If you're using classic Kolsch yeast that come in between 5 and 6 alpha acid units, you're probably using about 2 to 2.5 ounces total.
Mm-hmm.
If you're using something lower, you can do up to 3, but then the green matter is a little bit too much.
Yeah, I was gonna say you don't want to go above 3.
Yeah, you can be fine using a higher alpha hop and using a lower amount there, but then you'll miss out on some of the OG Kolschiness.
Matthew Lopez, ideas for getting rice flavor into a beer. Have an idea for a. That sounds
Baltic Porter.
That sounds amazing, and that might actually be for one of our southern states if you want to do that as the state beer instead.
Mash some rice, but then make rice milk or use rice milk that you can buy from the store. Rice milk is not milk; it doesn't have lactose in it. Doesn't have all the creamy oilinesses that can come with using milk. And rice milk's a great way to get that rice.
Sorry, I did lie. There is a second state that requires a lager. Texas
lager. Good old Texas
no,
common lager.
Because we're doing Tex-Mex, Mexican lager.
The good old Texas common. We're going to rename the Texas lager.
Yep. Sorry, I just saw that. Yeah. So any tree beer. Yep. No, I was going to say, yes. Patrick, if it's Lord of the Rings inspired, I will love it. I actually have Lord of the Rings tattooed onto my back.
The entire book, like word for word. It took a long time and very, very small writing.
Yep. But yeah, because and when I say tree, I'm usually leaning towards the kind of pine trees yes, I know you don't have those in Florida, but if you figure out a different way to do your tree beer, I will absolutely accept it as the Alaska.
Any tree beer. Heck yeah. Lardo style tree beer. I like it.
Oh, beard.
Yeah, tree beard.
Yeah. So Jimmy said a 1 to 10 ratio per Google for.
Did you type tree beard?
No. I just said juniper.
Or any tree beer. Okay.
I haven't edited it yet.
I like the creative bias there. Any tree beard.
I was gonna say if you do a palm tree beer, absolutely I'll accept that for Alaska.
Yeah.
Jimmy says a 1 to 10 ratio per Google for tomato, so 2.5 fresh tomatoes. Only asking because my parents have some spare green tomatoes.
Oh, nice. And that means my estimate wasn't that far off because I said 3.
Yeah.
So.
And oats with the horchata. I actually like the idea of oats, and also you do have to add cinnamon to a horchata.
Yeah, and then oats. So if you remember Hello Beer Company, they did oat milk IPAs all the time too. It's expensive, more expensive than using the raw ingredients if you don't want to make your own oat milk or don't want to make your own rice milk. But it is a very viable option for getting that same creaminess and texture into your.
Also, beer. Matthew Lopez, Baltic Porter is a long boil.
Mm-hmm.
That you're minimum 2 hours, in my opinion.
I think the recipes you'll find on that will probably say like 60 to 90 minutes. But yeah, if you want to do it right, you need a long boil, like a 2-hour boil. 4-hour boil.
So what I did for the when I brewed at No Dry, I did 2.5 hours.
Yeah.
And I was seeing all the right gravities and like the flavors are tasting good. So. Also, I overcarbed it with spunding.
Oh, that's fine. Yeah, you can relieve that.
Yeah, no, I no, legitimately, 5 times yesterday while I was brewing, I went over and just dumped CO2.
Now, don't over relieve it though. So if you're at room temperature, remember 68 degrees, 18 psi is the same as 12 psi at serving temperature.
Okay.
So don't.
Oh no, it's crash. It's cold.
So it's over 12 at cold temperature.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, no, and we're getting it down to the about 6 for adding nitrogen on top of it.
Mm.
So.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, because you need to do nitrogen.
Yeah, because this is a nitro beer. This is not just a Baltic Porter. This is our chocolate nitro.
Matthew Lopez, Jimmy already responded, but yeah, vanilla beans. I think that that's a good idea.
Yeah.
What he said, perceived sweetness, which means even though you're not getting actual sweetness, which I always try to avoid actual sweetness because it makes beers taste gross on average. But that perceived sweetness, it tastes more sweet than it actually is, which is really good.
Yeah, no, vanilla is if you want it anytime, or if you're really looking for something a little bit sweet, a little bit of milk sugar, a little bit of that lactose sugar.
Yeah.
And especially in a Baltic Porter that is going to be that really dark roasty and stuff. If you're going for that horchata, I would add a little bit of lactose to it.
Here's a really good question for a Michael Wall.
Yeah.
Are there microbes you can use in brewing that are not yeast, Brett, or the stringy Belgian one? Petio, I'm guessing. Can't remember the name. Koji or Pediococcus, I think, is the stringy Belgian one that you're thinking of. And then there's lactobacillus that's obviously in stuff.
Yogurts.
Yeah.
Good Belly is Michael. I don't know if you're in the United States, but if you want lactobacilla, Good Belly is the one that all the brewers use.
That's Plantarum. It's just a very easy one to use. It works at a wide range of temperatures. It's the same one that Omega has, and it's one of the two that Omega has.
And Koji is the Japanese.
Yeah, that's the one that breaks down rice. But in terms of microbes that you can use, there's a lot outside of. So like Weissella is a very common food bacteria that's not really talked about in the brewing world, but also very much works in the brewing world, and is naturally present on acidulated malts. Weissella is going to be more prominent in when you make, let's say you make a kimchi. Weissella is actually acting more than lactobacillus in that range, and it also works in beer the same way. There's a whole world of bacteria that yes you can use, including what we're now discovering to be all the quike cultures. I'm guessing.
And if you want to, Matthew, I don't know if you were on the live stream because I was drinking and driving. Well, I was driving then drinking.
Yeah. He's drinking and driving, and
while Jimmy was on, but the Kavike live stream, that's a really good one to listen to. Obviously, Jimmy's here, and if you have any questions for Jimmy, you can hit me up, and I'll get the questions to Jimmy. Also, I am making a executive decision on the horchata beer. For Arizona, you can either do churro or horchata.
okay.
So I will update that today while Peter cans up beers that I'm taking down Thanksgiving.
Sure, horchata.
There, but yeah, it's and if you guys have any questions, the Discord, which since I'm in the Discord, I'll just grab the link real quick and just post it into the chat. We have a really cool community in the Discord that I don't even have to answer questions half the time. Our community does it for me. And their answers are exactly what I would do. Here we go. You're going to hear myself. There we go. And get rid of that. Horchata is originally from Africa. That makes sense. I'm still going to do horchata for Arizona.
I have no idea if horchata is an Arizona thing or not. I don't know.
But we're doing churro. We're doing churros for Arizona, so I want that kind of Mexican. Because horchata, as someone who went down to Mexico City, like legitimately, your drink choices were like horchata. There was another one that was like in the same family as horchata, and beer. When you went out, they did not really have because no one drinks the water there. So I drank a lot of horchata when I was down there.
Makes sense.
And Jimmy, that is something that we'll definitely look into is the Omega strand, Mexican lager strand for the Texas.
Yeah, I have that. Yeah. So we can definitely.
That's probably why he's mentioning it.
Yeah.
So.
Pulque. What's Pulque? Didn't Trent do a video on Pulque?
I think you did, maybe.
I think you did. Anyways, chat's slowing down, and we got stuff to do. Nothing's left as horchata white stout.
Yeah, no, I had some I had
white stout, nice.
Tapache.
Tapache, yeah.
Yeah.
Has a horchata white stout. I'll send you guys. That's awesome. Thanks, Dustin. I would love to try their horchata white stout. Now, Matthew Lopez, nice. We're excited for Cellar Science's new Baja Mexican lager yeast. We all thought it was going to be Modelo strain, but it's in the Modelo group strain. So probably the same strain as White Lab Next Lager. Yeah. Cellar Science is doing some cool stuff. Cellar Science also just came out with a really fun IPA strain, too.
So are we going to have to use a couple of those in the state beers to help promote them?
I don't know, maybe.
Hey, everyone go to Cellar Science, tag them, and have them send us free product to use in our state beers.
Let's see what they got. They do some really cool stuff, though.
Yeah.
And they're run through one of the vendors that does really good for us.
But if they send us stuff for free.
Yeah.
So, also, I will not see you guys next week. I will be in the chat, most likely, because I think my dad's going to start driving my car in the morning when the live stream's going, which means I'll just put it on in the car and listen.
But I'll see you next week, and I'll see if I can find, I don't know, if we might have an extra guest, or it might be just brewing or something like that. We'll see.
Actually, do you want to just do a brew day of your fried green tomato?
I could. Yeah, I'll figure it out. It's going to be, because I want to do at least one this week. I might do them both earlier on this week. Yeah. I'm going to have to see how my schedule is. But
we could do a third of the brown sugar pecan kolsch for your wife.
Yeah, I'll figure it out.
As I know your wife's not the biggest beer drinker, and given the fact she suggested a beer, it kind of makes me want to make sure we make it.
She drinks a good amount of beer. Been fun hanging out with you guys. Yep. It's been fun hanging out with you guys as well. Thank you all. And,
for those of you who are in the United States, happy Thanksgiving. For those of you who are outside the United States,
happy Thanksgiving to you too.
Happy Thanksgiving, and also Merry Christmas coming up.
Boom.